When scientists discovered Gregor Mendel's work on the basics of genetics, it was hailed as a major breakthrough. For the first time, scientists could reliably predict and describe what was happening when two organisms with known traits were bred to produce offspring. Things were going great until scientists noticed something. Not all traits that they predicted in test crosses went out as expected. What could possibly be the explanation? Let us consider eye color in humans. Based on the picture, how many alleles do you think control human eye color? Are these the only alleles that control eye color? Which do you think is the dominant allele? Let us consider a snapdragon. What color offspring would you get when you cross a purebred homozygous red snapdragon with a purebred white snapdragon? Is it all red since red is the dominant allele? Or is it all white since it would be the dominant allele? Actually, it's neither red nor white. Why is this so? Snapdragon flower color can be explained by the principle of incomplete dominance, where a third phenotype is seen. In the principle of incomplete dominance, one allele is not completely dominant over the other. This may cause the heterozygous to have a third and different phenotype. In snapdragon flower color, there is blending that is observed. A homozygous dominant genotype shows red flowers. A homozygous recessive genotype shows white flowers. And a heterozygous genotype yields the third phenotype, which is pink flowers. What color of the offspring would you get when you cross a purebred homozygous red snapdragon with a purebred white snapdragon? If the P generation are purebred for red and white flower, it would produce pink flowers in the F1 generation. If the snapdragon and the F1 generation are crossed, it would produce a combination of red, white, and pink flowers. Aside from snapdragons, where can incomplete dominance be observed? It can be observed in some traits in horses and the Japanese 4 o'clocks, a plant species. How do we write the genotype when both alleles are dominant? Different letters must be used. Choose different letters to represent each form of the trait. Remember to always use capital letters. This is an example of how we write the genotype for incomplete dominance. How will a cross between two pure snapdragons look like? It will look something like this. Big R and big R to represent the genotype of the homozygous red flower. Big W and big W to represent the genotype of the homozygous white flower. The offspring would all have heterozygous genotype and would all be pink. How will a cross between two heterozygous snapdragons look like? It will look something like this. Big R and big W to represent the genotype of the first heterozygous pink flower. Big R and big W to represent the genotype of the second heterozygous pink flower. The offspring will have a genotypic ratio of 1 big R is to 2 big R big W is to 1 big W big W. Its phenotypic ratio would be 1 red is to 2 pink is to 1 white. Aside from the principle of incomplete dominance, we also have another pattern. What kind of pattern of inheritance do these organisms exhibit? This is another principle of inheritance known as codominance. This is observed when the two original phenotypes are combined to give a spotted or multicolored phenotype. Following the principle of codominance, how will a cross between a white chicken and a black chicken look like? Big B and big B to represent the genotype of the black chicken. Big W and big W to represent the genotype of the white chicken. The offspring would have the genotype of big B and big W. Its phenotype would all be checkered. Following the principle of codominance again, how will a cross between two checkered chicken look like? Big B and big W to represent the genotype of the first checkered chicken parent. Big B and big W to represent the genotype of the second checkered chicken parent. Their offspring would have a genotypic ratio of 1 big B is to 2 big B big W is to 1 big W big W. Its phenotypic ratio would be 1 black is to 2 checkered is to 1 white. What are other traits that follow incomplete dominance and codominance? List down 3 examples for each type of dominance.